He's got a 400-pound dog. I just want to tell you.
I'm out of this.
Okay. Okay, call the finance meeting for the tentative budget to order at 1 o'clock. Thanks for everyone coming and being in attendance. I'm just gonna read through the budget message, and I think everyone has a copy. So I come to you today to present the 2026 budget. This has been challenging on all aspects since I realized in March that we would be facing a budget crisis that this county had never seen in my tenure here. No one will be happy with this tentative budget as a percentage of increase. These few pages will give you a glimpse of how it has come together. The most important message you can get out of this is the cost of an average homeowner. I use $300,000 as a base at an average increase of 36 cents per thousand of assessment. That would add $108 to your county portion of your tax bill. That's $9 monthly. I'll go through more in-depth numbers at the end, and the sheets attached will give you the complete picture. I want to start with thanking the department heads and the supervisors for really coming together at a time of crisis in which it was needed most. The budget has expanded larger than anyone could have preferred, but certainly less than where we started after the September budget requests arrived at a 45% increase. Boards change over the years. That's the normal progression. It will change again in another 2 months. The board is always responsive to the will of the taxpayers and the needs of our departments to provide those services. We were told for years that we were running out of space in our building, and not one of us thought to ask why we are getting so big when our population is declining. We have some of the best technology to work with and great employees. We don't have money to expand and won't have in the very near future. In hindsight, we hired more people than we needed and now need to get our house in order. Our first question when someone needs more space should be, do you have too many people? How we got here is mandate driven. When it is state policy to pay out to clients that are within 300% of poverty, that is not sustainable. Putting caseload caps on our public defenders while at the same time not limiting assigned counsel attorneys is ludicrous. The list goes on and on. Mandates are driving costs to taxpayers while enabling a group of people to never realize their potential as an asset to society. These policies are causing our own demise. Government is an expensive way to replace family, and it will never be feasible or sustainable. With individual rights comes individual responsibility. Washington County people have always been resilient, responsible, and independent. That is why we have a great quality of life. We cannot lose that. The hardest part in the whole process is to first acknowledge the position you are in and then figure out how to get out of it. Make no mistake, this is not a one-year fix, and we are somehow going to be under the cap for a dozen years. No, I'm not sure that a 2% cap will ever allow any government entity to be sustainable. The idea of the cap was to keep property tax under control. State government undermined that possibility by sending more unfunded mandates and reduced funding to once totally funded mandates. Our advocacy falls on deaf ears because of the supermajority that is held in Albany to make decisions that don't favor any rural communities and pretty much any area outside of the New York City metropolitan area. This is a restoration process. We need to right-size our government for the needs of our population that is slowly declining. In 2026, we should be doing everything we can to not hire new people unless it is the only way for a service we deem necessary to continue. Downsizing by attrition is what we are after. It is the least harmless and most responsible. Departments may need to be restructured to be sustainable. Departments will need to communicate with the board and each other to become more efficient. We are all in this together, and the progress we have made in 2 months is greater than any of us could have imagined. Communication is the key. We only have the ability to change what we can change. We cannot waste time and energy on things we can't change. Living within our means is of utmost importance. We must satisfy needs and resist spending on the wants. Society itself is in a flux. As a board of supervisors, we must evolve as situations present themselves. Departments have the same evolution to contend with. It isn't just the mandates. Programs that were set up in the past don't necessarily work efficiently for today's current issues. The policies are the bigger issue. We have regulations that have given way to the criminal aspect of drug trafficking and abuse throughout our region, state, and county. The policies have decriminalized parts of this behavior, are the leading contributor to escalation of costs through some of our biggest departments. So our quality of life is really what is at stake right now. Certainly a change in state government would be helpful, and that will take time. Our governor and supermajority failed to ever acknowledge that the whole state has a problem. Until they acknowledge that problem, it won't get fixed. The bigger challenge when in a fiscal crisis is how do you tear down what must still be in place to reach our necessary outcomes? The restructuring process is always a work in progress, but this time it is out of necessity. We must be structured leaner, smarter, and fiscally efficient. We can't grow bigger because our costs are mostly associated with benefits that are growing out of control that we can do very little about. Health insurance and retirement costs are over 2.5 million of increases in this budget, nearly 3 times our 2% cap limit. I take no pleasure in putting people out of jobs. This is totally about sustainability of our county. I don't believe any department has been spared the pain of cutting in this budget. Even worse is we can't hire public defender attorneys that would save money by diverting cases to assigned counsel. This is the most somber budget I've ever had to present in the strangest times that New York has ever been in. I've tried to balance the tax increase with the least amount of loss to the quality of life in our county. Sheriff Murphy led by example right during the meetings, and so did many other department heads. The drug problem we face is why I have not been very aggressive to public safety. People may not like increased taxes, but they do want to feel safe in their communities and their homes. The leading component of economic development is infrastructure. We do need economic development, and the first major component is our roads and bridges. In the last crisis, we dismantled our DPW, and that did not have great results. The price we had to pay for deferred maintenance was very substantial, and we are just pulling out of that after 15 years. Our DPW superintendent has made cuts to make the department more efficient while keeping it at a level to perform the proper maintenance of roads and bridges. Everything isn't gloom and doom at Washington County. We did receive a lot of money during COVID to survive, and then we were awarded American Rescue Plan funds to rebuild. This money had many strings attached, and all towns and counties across the state and the country received funds to invest in our communities. We did it wisely, and we couldn't use it to offset funding in our budget. That was one stipulation. We are right at the completion of 2 highway buildings and the refurbishing of another building to be the home of our public health department. These are the only projects we have done in my tenure here, other than the upgrade of the sewer district facilities. The county projects all appear to be within their budgets, and some aspects went smoother than others. Maybe it wasn't all local tax dollars at work, but it was all tax dollars that made them come to fruition and should make us work more efficiently in the future. I'm going to now mention DSS. We have a new commissioner, Dwayne Vaughn. He's with us here today, I believe. He has come in the worst possible time to turn around a department that has a lot of great people working there. They are our front line in helping people that need help. I'm very confident that Dwayne has us heading in the right direction, and it won't be an instant fix. Everyone is aware of the fiscal stress in that department and the state mandates and policies that are behind that. We do need to support that department as they restructure. We are putting parameters in place so we can monitor spending and figure out if there are better ways of doing things. As a board, we need to make all departments more accountable, and this is a learning lesson for everyone in this room. The numbers tell me a story, and the state mandates and policies make that be the story. So I want to welcome Dwayne and acknowledge that this is a very difficult time for that department. We need him to be successful. We're Washington County to be successful. I'm certain that some people want to have deeper cuts. My concern here is that taxing too low is maybe worse than taxing too high for the future of our Washington County residents. In this budget, we had meetings where we cut lines as small as $15. To budget this tight reduces your ability to grow fund balance. Fund balance is a necessary item for cash flow, especially to meet payroll. The lack of fund balance is an issue in this budget and will be in every budget until it is restored. It can only be restored by our department heads saving money in their respective departments. They have always been great at that until some challenges got the best of us. The other way to restore fund balance is to have more sales tax than is budgeted as revenue. The jury is still out in 2025. It is my hope that we can at least break even this year and not lose more fund balance. Ideally, I want to stress to every department head that whatever money you can save these last 2 months of the year will greatly increase our chances of getting to a single-digit increase in the 2027 budget. The real truth is you must have a budget that covers your expenses. If it does not, more fund balance is removed, and that is a vicious cycle. Quality of life is decreased when taxes are so high, you must go without necessities. But it's also true that quality of life decreases if roads aren't safe and if you don't feel safe in your own home. I've tried to make cuts realizing that long-term efforts to Washington County residents and maintaining their quality of life. I'm sure every position brought before this board will be scrutinized in the next year or two as we work through this. In this budget, I tried to maintain every facet of economic development and departmental revenue. This tentative budget is now being handed to the Board of Supervisors for any amendments, and these are my summary and historical pages that are attached. The increase in expenses, $2.2 million, is less than the increase from just our health insurance and retirement bills. Total revenue is down $389,593. Fund balance usage decreased by $3,828,313, and the tax increase is $6,430,310, which equals an increase of 16.97%. The amount of reserve funds that are used is $1,260,000, and that is every reserve we had. It is very important that we save money these next 2 months, if at all possible, to not erode any more fund balance. The reality of the shrinking the amount of employment is the reduction of positions comes with employees layoff. I try to keep that at a minimum by taking vacancies first, counting retirements for partial year that would not be backfilled, and working with departments to not cripple their ability to get the work done. Time will tell if I was at all successful. In putting this together, I believe the tentative budget decreases the workforce by 43 full-time employees, basically positions, and 20 part-time employees. This is not an easy decision, yet it is the best solution as the cost of health insurance and retirement have been growing at unreasonable rates. The philosophy is to get to a level where we can accomplish governmental work at a sustainable level and take care of our employees. At the same time, we should fit within our current buildings. We will realize savings in future budgets from the workers' comp and retirement as those bills lag at least a year behind. For all those people that are interested in getting below the 2% cap, that would take an additional 75 actual employees from our employment. I have no appetite to go there. We can work together over the next 24 months and reduce through attrition if we want to get smaller, or we can add people back if the board feels I went too far. This has been a very interesting time and a very challenging budget. I can understand if no one is happy. We aren't always prepared for these situations. Governing is harder than most people think. The hard decisions sometimes must be made. I present you the 2026 tentative budget in hopes it achieves our goal of single-digit increases in the very near future. The good news, it is now the Board of Supervisors' decisions to amend if according to how you view the quality of life in Washington County and what you are willing to pay to preserve it. I've lived this for 6 months, and even if I'm not happy with the outcome, I do believe it is our best path forward to a better future. I want to thank my entire team of Melissa, Al, Sandy, Sue, and all department heads for helping and putting together the 2026 budget. Very appreciated. I know we have all strained each other's patience, and we still came out a team working together. That is the only way it works. Thanks immensely to the Board of Supervisors. You tasked me with an incredible challenge, and I look forward to our future discussions. And the only thing I would leave with is if the board wants to have meetings before our finance meeting, they have to be noticed unless there's a willingness to start on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. We have time enough for a Thursday or Friday meeting to notice them. If you want to meet before that, we would have to actually recess and pick this back up. Other words, I plan on adjourning unless somebody has something else in mind. You want to schedule? Okay. Very good. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's a bittersweet moment right at this time. There's a lot of information there to consume, and hopefully we can work together to get a budget for 2027.